Khan, BBC CWR. First, though, let's talk about Dodgy Firesticks, modified devices plug in to your telly, allowing you to watch everything from Premier League football to big cinema releases for free or less than you'd pay if you were streaming them legally. Now, lots of headlines this week saying that if you use one, you could face your day in court. What happens if you get caught using one? And what are the chances of being caught? Well, Andrew Eborn joins me, barrister, broadcaster, expert in copyright law and intellectual property. Good morning to you, Andrew. Thank you so much for being with us today. There's a lot of publicity about this week, isn't there?
There certainly is, Vic, and it's always a pleasure to join. And can I just praise your segue producers for playing Noah Khan and 6 seasons before talking about Firesticks. So well done to them, well spotted. Basically, this is it. There's a couple of offences under the Copyright Act. There's offence of fraudulently receiving programmes under Section 297, and you can be suspect to get a fine not exceeding, well, basically unlimited. It's also an offence under the Theft Act, effectively under it's fraud to receive these sort of streams without consent, and as a result of it, you could be subjected to imprisonment. So it's Section 11, the Fraud Act of 2006, which covers obtaining services dishonestly. And this is obviously a streaming service is a service that people normally pay for. So if you're receiving it dishonestly, there's that sort of risk. In addition to all of that, there's a potential risk about your own personal data, because some of these Fire Sticks can effectively harvest your data, and it can be used in all sorts of nefarious ways. So it's incredibly difficult. But the cost impact globally of pirate streaming, which is what it's about, has it been estimated to be about $71 billion annually, according to a Bloomberg report from the US Chamber of Commerce Global Innovation Policy Center. So it's a huge, huge business, which is why they have to crack down on the pirates.
How does a crackdown work? By using one of these sticks, are you traceable?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So what happens is people can be knocking on your doors. The thing about data, I always say that data is the new currency. And what happens is your mobile phones, your various connected devices, means that effectively we can spy on you. We know what you're doing. And as a result, there are ways of clamping down. And because I say, when you look at the alarming figures that you have in 71 billion annually lost through pirate streaming, it is worthwhile clamping down on these things. I'm going off to Cannes at the weekend for what's called MIP TV, which is the TV festival, where they buy and sell programs of formats around the world. So I speak at these events. And it's a global business worth zillions. But in order to make it make sense, people have to pay for the content. And if they're not paying for the content, it's prejudicing the whole of the business. And that is why people are clamping down.
Right, now I see, because I think on the one hand, people might say, well, £71 billion lost to the industry. That's their fault for charging us so much. Cost of living crisis, we can't afford it. That's why we're turning to illegal streaming. But actually, because they're losing so much money, this means it more likely will get a knock on the door. But are they realistically going to go for Joe Blogg's number 7, Acacia Avenue? I'm not suggesting for a moment there is anybody there who is streaming. But are they more likely to go for them or the big boys who are selling these sticks?
Well, the short answer is, of course, they want to go for the big boys and girls who are selling those stakes. But Joe Blogg could expect a knock on the door anyway. The basic thing is, obviously, it's like any supply of illegal assets and illegal property. You go for the head if you can. But in addition, there will be people out there who will want to make an example of it. And the reason that content is getting so expensive is because of the loss of these huge rights as well. So if everybody contributes a little bit, and actually we all help stamp down on the industry, then the cost will come down as a result of it. And also the point is that they're losing. And in the US, they've estimated about 250,000 jobs have been lost as a result of digital piracy and illegal streaming services. So there's a massive impact. And whilst it's obviously a big, big issue about cost of living and the problem about heating or eating at the moment, looking at the cost of these sort of content, if you like, and the sporting rights in particular, big focus on those, it is massive. And I think bearing in mind the bigger picture, that's what we need to look at.
OK, listen, thank you very much indeed for joining us, Andrew Eborn. Enjoy yourself in Cannes. That is Andrew Eborn, barrister, broadcaster, expert in copyright law and intellectual property. So even though they want the big boys, it's obvious that they would when it comes to these dodgy streaming sticks. They may well be coming for you too. That's the message, because they really do want to clamp down to stop people from using them. Don't know, any thoughts on this? 0800 75 65 200 to give us a call. Text 81333 CWR at the start.
Vic Minette. The sound of Coventry and Warwickshire. Together.